Hello everyone and welcome to club reaction to Rangers 1, Alashkert 0. It's not like Rangers to do things the hard way, and that's only really the start of the story. So I'm your host Scott Carney. I'm in the car with Jamie Lowe. Jamie, how are you?
I'm good, mate. I'm good. Trying to take the positives from that, but quite a frustrating night.
Yeah, I was saying to the boys as we walked back down there that you're probably a good one to have on to do this pod because it will keep me from going full rant mode. Because, put it this way, when I met Ali at half time, he was on full rant mode, absolutely, and probably quite rightly. So we'll go into the game. The team was what me and Ali had named on the club deck corner: McGregor, Tav, Goldson, Hollander, Bassey, Davis, Lundstrom, Aribo, Hadji, Kent and Morelos. Now the first half was pretty much a non-event, to be honest. Rangers lacked intensity, we lacked that extra yard, we lacked any creativity really. We had one chance with Ryan Kent and he struck the bar. Apart from that, it was rather poor. Before we come to Lundstrom, what was your thoughts in the first half? Pretty much along the lines of that?
Yeah, it was really slow, really laboured, no real cutting edge. We expected to have a majority of the ball, which we did, but just didn't really do an awful lot with it. Obviously got to the final third and it broke down an awful lot. Really frustrating. You mentioned Kent, he was on the ball, he got on the ball a lot, looked to drive at times, but I don't know, he actually looked as if, I don't know if it's a confidence thing with Kent or what just now, but it just wasn't happening for him tonight.
No, Ryan Kent, I mean, this is not the first time we've kind of spoke about it and spoke about him really not firing. It's becoming a wee bit concerning. I fell into the trap of talking to the guys on about me that Gerrard's picked his names and not picked the form players, which, yeah, can be true to a certain extent, but he did go with Bassey. But I mean, players like even Aribo, he wasn't there tonight for whatever reason. It didn't really seem to happen for him. We just looked, I've spoken about it before, the wee quarter yard short, where the passes are a wee quarter yard short. And it kind of disrupts the whole flow when you're that wee bit off it. And yeah, I mean, Kent struggled really badly. His chance was arguably the best chance. We'll get on to John Lundstrom now. Now, the referee wasn't great. I'm going to say that from the outset. However, I've got probably no complaints in the two yellows that John Lundstrom's picked up. The first one was a silly one. As soon as he done it, we all said he put the guy back as he was kind of caught out in the ball. But we're caught out in the ball a few times tonight, as if we're not talking to each other, as if nobody's screaming there's a man on you. Do you know what I mean? And that was really frustrating when he done that, and then literally 43 minutes, I think it was, he done it again, exactly the same thing, and it's a second booking and he's off. He offered nothing tonight. Him and Davis, I've said it before, I don't know if they belong on the same team together.
The second one from Lundstrom especially was really frustrating. The area of the pitch he was in as well, even though he was, as you say, he was caught out of position, but there was no real need for him to even professionally foul the other player, or if you want to look at it that way, there was no need. But yeah, you're right, we were caught out of position a couple of times. I actually just caught almost napping, just weren't up to speed, even though, and that's the thing, it's so frustrating because we still dominated the play, still dominated the ball. We just, I don't know, we just seemed to lack that intensity and drive, and just get really sloppy.
Yeah, it was, and it was just, it was kind of short on belief maybe. Too many players are kind of taking their confidence, not for whatever reason it seems to be happening. Maybe Gerrard swapping the team around that is causing that, but again, that's to be expected. If you're not performing, you have to bring somebody in that's going to perform, and if you can't take the criticism, you're probably at the wrong club. I mean, this is what we are, we're Rangers, this is what we do. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that Alashkert are a good team. They are terrible. They are not a good side. I mean, they offered very little, but they came here with a game plan. They tried to implement that game plan as best they could, but I mean, McGregor wasn't troubled the entire night. No. Arguably their keeper really wasn't troubled for the majority of the night, and he looked like a bomb scare, especially when the first ball went in to the box. He looked a bit of a bomb scare.
Yep.
half time. Shining light for me was Bassey. I think he was trying his hardest. He really was. He was putting as much effort in as he could. Some things were coming off, some weren't. Davis again was kind of strolling about doing as he does, doing what Steve Davis does. And Hadji, I thought Hadji was trying his hardest as well to get something going, anything going really, but wasn't much else.
Hadji was my man of the match. I thought he was fantastic first half as well. I thought he was the best player. Constantly looking to get on the ball. A couple of his passes as well as even his crosses, as in dead balls, were lacking in quality. But besides that, he was constantly looking for the ball. He's really up for the game. I think that is what was lacking in a number of other players, that drive and willingness to go on and get on the ball. You're right though, Bassey had a really solid game again. Crosses into the box were of good quality, so a good game. And Davis, as you say, was solid enough.
Well, in the second half, and we make the change. Kent comes off and Scott Wright comes on, and within 2 minutes of the second half, Scott Wright had done more in 2 minutes than Kent had done the whole of the first half.
That's the most frustrating thing, hasn't it? Took for us to go down to 10. As in, we probably played the best football of the game when we went down to 10 men.
We had one moment in the first half, sorry Jamie, one moment in the first half where we played really good passes. It was towards the end of the first half before Lundstrom got sent off, and I was like, right, we're started, something's clicked here, but obviously not. But yeah, again, back to Scott Wright when he came on, and he just seemed to kind of bring the intensity.
All the subs, to be fair, but him in particular, I really like Scott Wright. I thought he would actually have started. That was what I thought he'd be on the front line. I think he brings something different. He is really pacey, but a really good sub to bring on as well. But I thought all subs that come on really put in a shift, and I guess they had to, given we're down to 10 men. But again, still controlled the ball, controlled all the possession. So yeah, as I say, a really frustrating game and night, but I guess we're still got a lead, not as handsome as we'd hoped for, but
it is still a lead. Yeah, it is still a lead, and it can only get better. But we've said that before, that it can only get better. Morelos then scores for Rangers, probably deserved. He tried his hardest as well. He wasn't really getting the supply, but he never really kind of hid away at all. I was convinced he was offside, to be honest. I was staring at the linesman expecting him to be offside. I've not seen it back, so I don't know if he was. All I kept thinking when the linesman didn't put his flag up was Alfie just scored. He'd far too much time to think about it, and I was like, hit the ball, Alfie. He put it in between the keeper's legs, scored to make it 1-0, and Ibrox has a bit of an eruption at that point, and I can't criticise the crowd. Yeah, there was grumbles and things weren't really happening. Some of the passing decisions made by Goldson were so poor. It's just, again, it's not like this, but again, I think the frustration was building throughout the team because of the way this was going. But for Alfie to get the goal, I mean, I said as soon as I sat down, we should not be this happy being 1-0 up against this team, but we're down to 10 men, so I'm going to take it. And yeah, I mean, and when he came on as well, but Alfie's goal, sorry Jamie.
No, it was obviously such a frustrating period beforehand, so obviously to eventually score, but he took his time, as in I thought the flag was going to show as well, whether he was waiting on it or not, but he was just standing, almost steadying himself for such a long period of time. So obviously good to see him hit the net, and his celebration was good as well.
Yeah, his celebration was good, and he got the crowd going, and then the crowd obviously started singing his name, and we kind of stayed behind the team for the majority of the match, I would say. I don't think we didn't really get on the team's back. Look, it's not the result we were all hoping for, but again, obviously Itten and Alfie come on, both again doing really well. The ref then was making some really inconsistent calls. There was one where Hadji was manhandled about 4 or 5 times before the ref stopped it, and then it looked like he took a hit to the face. There was a penalty shout for Scott Wright. It was on the other side of where I was sitting. I didn't get the best view of it. I'm not sure if it was a penalty or not. He seemed pretty convinced, to be honest.
I wasn't sure about that. I was shouting for it, but I wasn't certain. Again, I'm the same side of the stand as you, so I wasn't sure about that. But the ref was quite frustrating, as in there was a lot of very similar fouls that he was booking players for and not, and vice versa. So the ref was quite frustrating.
And I'm not saying for 1 second that Lundstrom didn't deserve to be sent off, because
he did.
It was stupid.
Yep.
But there was so many of these same fouls happening, and he wasn't booking players for it. And
Yep.
you're like, well, it's just the consistency that annoys you, I think.
Kamara's back for next week, isn't he?
Kamara is back for next week.
That's
Yeah.
good. He'll honestly be what
What a
a
difference.
positive to bring back in.
So just before we finish up, mate, who was your man of the match? Even we'll go with your man of the match first. Hadji. So I'll give it Morelos just for scoring. I think just because he got us the goal, I think he deserves it. I think Davis as well, you could put an argument for him, and you could put an argument in for Bashi as well. He tried his heart out, he really did, and he won the ball when he got us forward a few times in the second half, and we're down to 10 men as well, so kudos to him. Just before we finish up, Jamie, I said to the boys at half time, I think John Lundstrom could struggle to recover from this.
I know what you're saying. I think it's still very early for Lundstrom in his career. He's obviously still learning about the club, about the position, about the way the team play. I do think he is going to come good. It's still very early. Obviously, he's going to have a suspension to contend with now. So, I'm not going to write him off just yet. I think he will come good.
Hopefully, I hope he does. But that was not a way to convince the Ibrox faithful that you're the right man for the job. Just rush of bloods to the head and frustration has just led to really stupid fouls, and he left us with a task in hand. But Rangers are going into the second leg. We're in control of the tie. I don't think we're really any great risk. Obviously this is me cursing the team, but I don't think we're at any great risk of going out. I think we've got more than enough to handle this team, and with Kamara being back next week, it's going to make a massive difference. Jamie, thank you very much. I was going to say, I always go do that when I'm in the car, say thank you for your time, but you're sitting in the car with me, mate, so thank you anyway, mate.
No, thank you.
We'll be back on Saturday morning with a preview of the Ross County game. So until we speak to you then, we are Club at 22, the Rangers podcast. Cheers.